dangerous and strange houses, living on the edge. In the vast tapestry of human habitation, people have built homes in almost every conceivable environment, from the safety of flat plains to the perilous peaks of mountains. However, some dwellings stand out as dangerously unique and strange, seemingly defying the laws of nature and common sense. These houses may look picturesque or mysterious from the outside, but for the people who live in them, daily life can be a perilous challenge. This documentary explores some of the most hazardous and peculiar places where people have chosen to make their homes, risking life and limb for various reasons, whether out of necessity, cultural tradition, or sheer defiance of their surroundings. 1. Cliffside villages of China's Sichuan province. Perched high above a valley in the Sichuan province of China, the Achular village is an astonishing sight. Houses are built on nearly vertical cliffs, and the only way to access the village for many years was by climbing unsecured vine ladders. These ladders dangled hundreds of feet above the ground, where one slip could lead to a fatal fall. The villagers, predominantly from the Yi ethnic minority, built their homes on these steep cliffs generations ago to protect themselves from enemies and wild animals. While modern innovations, such as steel ladders, have improved the safety of the route to the village, the sheer danger of living in such an isolated and treacherous place remains. The terrain is unforgiving, with no easy access to markets, hospitals, or schools. Many children brave the climb daily to attend school, a journey that has been described as more of an extreme sport than a commute. The villagers survive through subsistence farming, growing crops on the precarious terraces they've carved into the cliffside. Their choice to remain here, despite the hazards, speaks to their strong cultural ties to the land. This village, while undeniably dangerous, is a testament to human resilience and adaptability. 2. The floating shantytowns of Makoko, Nigeria. Makoko, located in Lagos, Nigeria, is often referred to as the Venice of Africa, but the comparison is superficial. Makoko is a sprawling slum built entirely on stilts over the water, where residents live in makeshift wooden shacks. While the houses are not perched atop dangerous cliffs or unstable mountainsides, the hazards faced by Makoko's inhabitants are just as severe. Flooding is a constant threat, and the waters beneath these homes are heavily polluted. Diseases such as cholera, typhoid, and malaria are rampant due to the unsanitary living conditions. The shantytown's fragile wooden homes are susceptible to collapse, especially during storms. With the constant risk of waterborne diseases, drowning, or being displaced by rising waters, life in Makoko is precarious. Yet, despite these challenges, Makoko is home to tens of thousands of people who rely on fishing and other water-based trades for survival. For the residents, the water is not just a hazard but also a resource, providing their livelihood. Their homes are a reflection of their symbiotic yet dangerous relationship with the environment, and many have no choice but to continue living in this floating labyrinth. 3. The cave homes of Matmata, Tunisia. In southern Tunisia, the ancient Berber town of Matmata is known for its troglodyte homes, caves carved out of the sandstone hills. While these underground houses provide respite from the searing heat of the desert, they also present a host of challenges. The homes are dug into the ground, with large central courtyards providing light and ventilation. While the architecture is a marvel of human ingenuity, the living conditions can be difficult. Flash floods during rare but intense rainstorms can cause significant damage to these subterranean dwellings, leading to collapses or structural weaknesses. Additionally, the isolation of Matmata, located far from urban centers, means access to medical care, education, and basic services is limited. For many years, the residents of Matmata lived completely cut off from the outside world, relying on traditional farming and craft-making to sustain themselves. Even today, while some modernization has occurred, life remains harsh. Despite the dangers, these cave homes have been passed down through generations, representing a unique cultural heritage that the Berber people are determined to preserve. 4. The high-rise favela of Torre David, Venezuela. Torre David, an unfinished skyscraper in the heart of Caracas, Venezuela, became infamous as one of the world's tallest slums. Originally intended to be a 45-story financial tower, construction halted during the country's financial crisis, and the building was abandoned. In the following years, thousands of people moved into the structure, transforming it into a vertical city. Living in Torre David was fraught with dangers. The building was never completed, meaning many floors had no walls, no windows, and no proper staircases. Residents fashioned makeshift homes out of concrete shells, without access to running water or reliable electricity. Improvised electrical systems often sparked fires, and the open shafts and crumbling stairways made falls a frequent hazard. Despite these dangers, for many, Torre David was a better alternative than the overcrowded barrios or the streets. A sense of community developed, with residents creating shops, schools, and even fitness centers within the tower's skeletal structure. However, the building's inherent instability and lack of basic infrastructure made it one of the most dangerous places to live in the world until the government relocated many residents and sealed off the tower in 2014. 5. The Island of Dolls, Xochimilco, Mexico. While not a traditional home, La Isla de las Muñecas, Island of the Dolls, in Xochimilco, Mexico, is perhaps one of the eeriest and strangest places where a human once lived. The island is covered in hundreds of decaying dolls, which dangle from trees and are nailed to walls, creating a haunting atmosphere. The island's former caretaker, Don Julian Santana, lived alone there for over 50 years, believing that the dolls protected the island from evil spirits. Don Julian's life on the island was a mixture of superstition and isolation. He collected discarded dolls from the canals and streets of Xochimilco, hanging them up as a form of protection. For visitors, the island feels like a scene from a horror movie, but for Don Julian, it was home. After his death, locals and tourists alike have perpetuated his tradition, bringing more dolls to the island, which has now become a macabre tourist attraction. The danger of living on such an isolated and psychologically unnerving island may not have been physical, but the mental strain of isolation and obsession weighed heavily on Don Julian until his death. His eerie abode stands as a testament to the power of superstition and solitude. 6. The Hanging Monasteries of Meteora, Greece. Meteora, located in central Greece, is famous for its monasteries perched atop towering rock pillars. These monasteries, some dating back to the 14th century, were originally built by monks seeking solitude and protection from invading forces. The sheer cliffs provided a natural barrier, but living in these precarious locations came with its own set of risks. Access to the monasteries was originally limited to ladders and ropes, which the monks would pull up to prevent outsiders from entering. The danger of falling was ever present, with the steep drops and unstable rock faces posing a constant threat. Over time, staircases were carved into the rocks, making access slightly safer, but the monks still faced the challenges of isolation, harsh weather, and the risk of rockfalls. Despite these dangers, the monasteries of Meteora remain active, with a small number of monks and nuns continuing the ancient traditions of their predecessors. Their commitment to their faith and way of life keeps them rooted to these stunning yet perilous homes. Finally, the stories of these dangerous and strange homes highlight the resilience and adaptability of the human spirit. Whether driven by necessity, faith, culture, or circumstance, people continue to inhabit places that defy conventional logic. These homes, perched on cliffs, floating on water, or buried in caves, offer a unique glimpse into the diverse ways humans have learned to survive and thrive in the most challenging environments. While life in these locations may be fraught with danger, it also reflects the deep connection people have to their land, their traditions, and their communities, even when living on the edge, both literally and figuratively.